Hey girls, and welcome to another episode of the Hey Girl podcast. This is episode 12 with Kara Cox. Well, since this is episode 12 and we're approximately a month into our podcasting debut career, we thought it'd be fun to talk about it a little. So, Bethany, real talk, how are you feeling about our podcast career?
I'm feeling pretty solid about it. I just had this moment of, if we do this once a week and we're on 12, how is that only a month? I forgot we released like 6 the first day.
6, yeah. Mathematicians, we are not.
This is why we do a podcast. I love it. It's been an interesting road. I have loved hearing women's stories as much, if not more, than I thought I would when we first talked about doing this. So I'm still all in. How are you feeling?
So every episode that we do, I'm like, nope, this is my favorite. This is my favorite one so far. And then we do another one. I'm like, no, this is my favorite. So I have loved every single one of our guests so much. I'm so thankful for the women who are willing to tell their stories and just how God has just shown up in their lives. And so it's so fun. I mean, personally, I feel like our lives are a little crazy, so it's kind of surreal that we have this podcast going on at the same time. So it's this super fun outlet, and it's super, like, I love that we get to tell women's stories that maybe people wouldn't hear otherwise. So I love it. It's crazy. And side note, we're really not making any money at this. $0.
Zero. Soon we're going to have to start explaining that to our husbands when they're like, you're putting a lot of time into this.
Fine, honey. Super great. It's for Jesus, so fine.
I love that you say our lives are kind of crazy, because I'm just sitting here appreciating the fact that you are like tucked in a corner of your house hiding from your children. And I am tucked in a corner at my church, hiding from all of these people who are here putting on a whole dance recital. And this is our life. We're Skyping in the midst of real life.
I think that's like anything that's creative that you want to do, that you love. Like, writers are like, oh, yeah, it'd be super awesome to like go to a cabin in the woods for a week and just write. But the reality is you're typing in your minivan while you're picking up your kids because you want to get this creation out into the world. And so that's how it is for us too. Like, you grind it out and you get it out no matter how it looks, and you just get it done in the midst of your life because we get to do this. We get to.
Yes.
So super fun.
So speaking of crazy and all sorts of whatever, this interview today, like you said, I swear I say every week that this is my favorite, but I had a blast interviewing Kara.
Yes. And you went to Maine. You met her, you went to Maine because you were doing a conference. So I did not go with you. So you interviewed her by yourself.
Yeah.
And I've already listened to the playback. And the word that I have for her is vivacious. I loved hearing this interview. And we have more to tell you about this interview, but you need to hear it first. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into Bethany's interview with Kara.
Kara and I are out here at Old Orchard Beach, Maine.
Yep.
I think you are officially the longest commute I've ever done for a Hey Girl interview. Congratulations. But this is not your home.
No.
Where are you actually from?
I grew up in a small town called Greene, which is outside of Lewiston, Auburn area here in Maine. So I grew up in Greene with my parents. I'm one of 5 kids. I'm right in the middle. And I grew up not going to church. Both my parents had bad experiences growing up in the church. They kind of made that decision when they got married. We are not doing any of that. We're not pushing our kids into any of that. They always let us go to like VBS and stuff like that, but we weren't churchgoers. So I lived my life as a non-believer until I was 24 or so when I met my husband.
Wow.
I actually Facebook stalked him. That's how I found him.
Wait, how did you know to Facebook stalk him?
So we had a mutual friend that was moving out of state, and I couldn't go to her going away party, but I was looking at her pictures afterwards. And I saw a picture of him and asked her about him. She was just like, oh, he's older. He's got kids. It's just somebody I work with. And I was like, well, how old is older? And I don't care if he has kids. And I didn't get a response from her.
Oh.
So I kind of took that as she might have a thing for him.
So she wasn't.
So I backed off.
Did you,
for
though?
a few weeks. And then I looked him up on Facebook because she had told me his name. And then I sent him a friend request after looking at his pictures and seeing how sweet of a guy he looked. Like, pictures with him and his girls and how much fun they had. Like, making up all these games with them. And I was like, I've got to at least try. I mean, what's it going to hurt? He's going to think I'm some crazy person, I guess.
Okay, wait. You're 24.
I'm 24.
Not a believer.
Not a believer.
You just saw him in a picture. So how old was he?
He, at the time, well, I was 24, so he was 33.
Okay, so almost a 10-year age difference. That's not bad once you're in your 20s, though.
No.
But that's like insta-family, and that didn't scare you off?
No. I've worked with kids my whole life. I've always been with kids, so it really didn't scare me off.
Oh, my word. Okay.
And he seemed like a really involved dad, you know, as much as pictures can tell you something like
that. Because Facebook is always, like, super honest. That's the way to found your spouse.
Exactly. Yes.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah.
You've stalked him. You've friend requested him. Then what?
And then I waited and waited and waited. I friend requested him probably the beginning of September. End of November, beginning of December, he finally sent me a message and was like, do I know you?
I feel like I know you.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, well, not really. So I saw your picture on this person's. I was honest. I was like, at this point, I've sent him a friend request. I'm just going to be honest. This is how it's going down.
Kara.
So I said, I saw your picture, and so I asked about you, and she didn't give me much info. So I took it upon myself to find out more information.
Okay, I'm dying to know how he responded.
So I don't remember his exact response, but pretty much it was just like, oh, I saw you had a Jeep. That's cool. Like, oh, you have a German Shepherd. I used to have one too.
Wait, you had the German Shepherd?
I had the German Shepherd and the Jeep.
You were so cool. This is ridiculous. All right, so he was looking for things in common.
Yeah. And so we started kind of small talk on Facebook. We exchanged email addresses. And when we started emailing, he worked second shift. So we didn't get to like email often at the same time. So it was really like he's at work writing me these emails, like super long emails. But it was really funny because it wasn't like that normal, like, oh, hey, you're cute. Like, let's go hang out. Or like what I was used to, like being a non-Christian, non-believer was like, this is not what he did. He like shared the gospel with me in his emails, like, but in a way that was like, oh, okay, I'll read this. Like, this might be good information. Sure. And that's what all of his emails were. It was all like sharing the gospel. And I was like, this is weird. Like at first I was kind of like, I don't know. But then like the more I just like, he just kept going and it was good, you know, and it helped me to like, wow, I have been searching in my life. Like I knew there was a piece missing in my life and had tried to fill that void with very worldly things. And then it was like, just he started talking to me and sharing Bible verses with me. And I was just like, wow, this little void that I have is like kind of filling a little bit. Like I need to continue these conversations.
Had you ever heard, like, had anyone ever shared the gospel with you?
Not really.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was
crazy.
It is really crazy. It's really cool. And I kind of forget how cool it is until I come back and share my story.
Share it into a microphone.
Exactly. Yeah. So we kept just kind of conversations like that going back and forth. I would ask him questions and just getting to know each other. This went on for like 2 weeks.
Okay.
It was a pretty short period of time. 2 weeks. And then we finally met on his like 15-minute break at work. He worked at the hospital as security and he's like, I'm going on my 15-minute break and I'm going to be at the Dunkin' Donuts that's like around the corner from your place.
That's such a main date.
Totally. Like I don't think he really thought I was actually going to show up, but I got that text and I'm like, whoa, gotta get my shoes on. Like I'm getting all ready. My roommate's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to meet Brandon.
I'm going to Dunkin' Donuts.
She's like, what do you mean? I thought you guys had a date set for tomorrow to meet. I'm like, well, we do, but he just told me he's around the corner. Why not? It's 15 minutes. So if it's really bad, I know I only have 15 minutes.
I can cancel tomorrow's date.
Exactly. Yes. It's short.
That's so genius.
I did. Yeah. I figured it worked well. So I went over and met and he made fun of my shoes. He says that he liked them, but he made fun of them.
Rude.
Yeah. But it's all right. He was still cute, so it worked. So we met. We ended up going on our date the next day, and we just kept emailing. That was our biggest way of correspondence, which was really cool because I was getting to know him without the physical attraction being, the physical attraction was there. I'd seen him, but it wasn't the overwhelming reason for me to get to know him more. So it was really cool. We went on a couple of dates, kept hanging out, and then we decided it was April of the following year, 2010, that we were hanging out, and we had just gotten so close, and we both were like, this is good. This is really good. Met his family. They're great. He grew up in a Christian home, wonderful, fantastic Christian home. He's one of 7 kids. Awesome family. It was April vacation. He was house sitting his aunt's or cousin's house or something, and I was over visiting. And we were like, we should just get married.
What?
Were
you bored?
We were just hanging out. We really enjoy this. This is really comfortable and enjoyable. So why would we continue looking elsewhere if this is good? I had met his girls. That was one thing too for me. I love kids. And so he pretty early on asked me if I wanted to meet his kids. And I was like, I don't know. It's still so early. We barely know each other. And for me to have said that was wow, because I would have normally just been sure, I love kids. So I'll be a friend to them. It's fine. I'm not going to try to go in and be hey, I'm your dad's girlfriend. It was, so for me, it was wow, maybe there really is something here because I'm being more mature and responsible than I really usually am.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it because you knew it was?
I think I really
this is
do.
Serious, and I don't want to take it lightly.
I really think so. And it's funny because he's the opposite. He was very, he waited to introduce his kids to anybody, and so for him to have offered that up so quick was weird.
Yeah.
So it was we were both doing the opposite of what we normally would have done. So it was weird. So, so we met officially in December, the beginning of December, middle of December. And then April, we were let's just get married. So we're sitting there in the living room just talking. We're okay, so when are we going to do it? And we're well, we could do it in June. And I'm well, that's Father's Day. It's Brandon's birthday. Is that my husband's birthday? It's my mom's birthday. And I was to try to get people together. And then we're let's just do just our parents. I'm well, then if we do it at the beginning of the month, it's near your birthday. The end of the month, it's my mom's birthday. And it was just this 15-minute conversation about trying to pick this date that we didn't even know. Really? We're already talking about this? And we were just never mind. Let's just go get married. And so it was a week and a half later, he picked me up. I was working at a daycare teaching preschool. He picked me up. I worked a split shift. So I worked, 7:30 to noon. And then from 1 to 4 or 5 or something. So he picked me up my lunch break. We went to the town office in the little town that I grew up in. Got our marriage certificate. And while we were there, we're can you just marry us? You must be a notary. And she was yeah, I am actually. So she's you really want to? We're sure, why not? Let's do it. And so she's well, you need witnesses. Is there anybody you can call to come? And I was well, my parents live right down the road, but I think they're working, so they're probably not easily accessible. They know we're doing this, but just our parents knew at this point that we were going to do this.
I was going to ask, did anybody know?
Yeah, both of our parents knew that it was coming and that it was happening. And my parents were actually out of the country. They were in Canada. I was their house is down the road, but they're not home. So she's well, let me go look around the office and see who's here. So it was, I don't know, some guy that worked in the town office was one of our witnesses. And then there was they do the census, people go around knocking your door, do the census. So they were doing a training for people to do that. So it was some 18-year-old kid that was doing census training was our other witness. And we got married. He took me back to work and we kept it a secret because we didn't have the girls and we hadn't told the girls yet. They knew that we were probably going to be getting married soon, but we didn't tell them for sure.
Gotcha.
So that was a Friday, and the girls were coming the following Friday. So we kept it a secret from everybody except for my parents, his parents, and we had to tell one of his little sisters because he was living with his parents, and she also was. And so in order to me be able to spend the night there now that we were married, we had to tell her because it was like the rule, you can't spend the night at their house, especially in the room together, So we had to tell her. So there were only a few people that knew. I didn't even tell my coworkers. So I went back, didn't wear my ring for a week. And then he picked up his kids on a Friday, and I met them at where they were living at my husband's parents' house. And the girls were all in their little dresses. He had told them what was happening. And so they got in their dresses. They went and got this beach towel and laid it out for me to walk down the aisle. And they took a little shelf outside and made the little altar. And they had a little flower basket, and they took things from their room to make us gifts. And so they did our wedding.
That's so sweet.
It was really cool.
So they were really supportive.
They were.
How old are they?
Supportive. When we got married, they were 5 and 7.
Oh, wow. So this was a fairy tale for them.
Absolutely. Oh, my word. Yeah.
Okay, I have so many questions right now. I can't even get them straight. Okay, so you've married him. You go back to work. Just every... But you do live together after you get married?
Well, I had an apartment, and he was living with his parents, so I would stay the night at his parents sometimes.
You were living with his parents?
In a twin-size bed, mind you.
My word. Yes. I can't even process.
But I still had my apartment because I had a dog. And I couldn't bring the dog to
Why didn't he come to your apartment? Why did you go to his parents' house?
I'm not really sure.
I mean, I don't mean to be judgmental. But if I had a choice, I think I prefer my own apartment.
Yeah, where I had a full-size bed instead of a twin.
Yeah.
And my dog and my stuff. Yeah. I'm not really sure why we decided that.
Was it for appearance sake? Because it seemed less if you went to their house than if someone caught him going to your place?
Maybe, although we might have told my roommate.
Okay. Oh, you had a roommate?
Yes, I had a roommate.
Oh, maybe that's why you did.
So maybe, probably. I don't really remember, to be completely honest.
Kara, this is... I don't even know where to start. Okay. So fast forward, because you're still married.
Yes.
So this has worked out.
It worked.
Thank
great.
you, 18-year-old census boy, for watching that. Okay, first of all, do you still know those two people?
No.
Really?
No.
They didn't even get you a gift or something?
No.
Gosh, they witnessed your...
I know.
How rude. Okay, so you're married. Tell me about right now in your life, because that was what year?
2010.
Okay, 2017. Mm-hmm. What has the last 7 years looked like?
It's been amazing. It's been, we only knew each other for a few months when we got married. Literally, some people are like, oh yeah, we dated for 4 months. Well, we literally knew each other for 4.5 months when we got married. So it was you never know what's this going to be like. We really didn't even know each other that well at that point.
Seriously.
So we got married, and before we got married, I had started going to church with him, which was cool. It was enjoyable. I was feeling really good about it. So back up just a week before we decided to get married, I gave my life to Christ. In his bedroom at his parents' house.
Aww.
And after I did that, it was that night that he was like, okay, now I can marry you. He's like, I wasn't going to tell you that I couldn't marry you without you making that step in your life. But now that you've made that step on your own, I can tell you that that needed to happen. That
he legitimately did not wait for that next step. He's like, hey, now that you're a believer, let's just go to town hall.
Right now.
Just get this thing done.
Yeah. So I gave my life to Christ. It was February, March, somewhere around there. It's fuzzy. And we were going to church together. Great. We ended up getting an apartment 2 houses down from his parents. Little 1-bedroom apartment, 3rd floor, so hot and stuffy and gross. But we're happily together, living there. We had the girls. We had to go buy furniture and stuff because I had stuff, but it was hand-me-downs that I have been around for years. So he sold his motorcycle, his precious, prized possession motorcycle, in order for us to buy this furniture we needed for our apartment.
Girl,
it was very nice.
Loves
He's a keeper.
Did you keep the Jeep?
Oh, that Jeep was a rust bucket.
Oh.
So that Jeep, before we even got married, the clutch went in it when I was in Lewiston, and I had to drive it with no clutch to mine it, which was about a half an hour away. through town. Like, if anybody knows Lewiston, Maine, like
What?
stoplights, all of that, no clutch in this Jeep. I had to drive it.
Okay,
It was
so
miserable.
Jeep is gone,
Jeep's gone.
motorcycle's
Jeep's gone.
gone.
Motorcycle's gone. He would drive, before we got married, he would drive from his house in Sabattis, which is about 15, 20 minutes from where I was living, to pick me up in the morning for work, bring me to Sabattis, where I worked in the town that he lived in, and then turn around and bring me back at the end of the day, all while like interrupting his sleep because he works second shift, and so like messed up second or third shift, and so totally messed his stuff up. He's a keeper.
Yeah, seriously.
He's good.
There's like women all over gonna listen to this and be like, why did you get that man?
I know, I am very lucky.
I'll tell you why. Facebook
That's
stalked
right.
him.
Facebook stalked him, and it worked.
Dragged his butt to town hall.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. So no, the last 7 years have been amazing. Not without its hiccups, but overall, it's been great. Since then, we've moved out of our apartment. We bought a house together. Got our dog. Got the kids.
Do you have a white picket fence?
I don't.
You should get one.
I should
Complete
probably
the whole picture.
It helped keep my chickens in the yard. They keep going in the road.
Of course, you have chickens.
I do have chickens and a rabbit.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and a dog.
So where now? 7 years later, you've got your daughters are
They're now almost 13 and almost 16.
okay. So two stepkids.
Yes,
Teenagers. So my first
teenage girls.
teenage girls. So my first question, and I don't know the answer to this. I don't know your family well enough, but has any of that sweet fairy tale dynamic of a 5 and 7 year old setting up a fake wedding on the beach, has any of that changed with these girls becoming teenagers and you being stepmom and
Right.
that dynamic, or has the relationship actually grown closer through these years?
It's better than I could ever imagine it have been able to be. These girls are amazing young ladies, and our relationship from the get-go was great, and it was, like you said, very fairy tale like, and so I was like, this is the honeymoon stage for me and my husband and me and the kids. But it has grown into an amazing relationship between us. Again, not without its hiccups and bumps, and there were along the way, but nothing. We have a great relationship, and they're my daughters, and I am one of their two moms, and that's how they look at me and how I look at them, and it's a wonderful relationship. I have lucked out with my husband and my stepkids. I'm super, super excited to have had such an easy jump into family dynamics like this. It was like overnight. Hey, you're mom now. Oh, okay.
Yeah, for real. And how old were you? So then how old were you when you became a mom of these two girls?
Well, I was still 24. I turned 25 the year we got married.
Wow. Okay.
Right? Something like that. Maybe I was even a little younger. Well, I'll be 31 this year. We've been married for 7 years, so I was younger.
You're
than that.
30 years old, and you have how old?
13, almost 13 and almost 16.
Okay. So that's a big deal.
It is.
Because I'm 33 and my son is 13, and I was a young mom.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's huge.
It is. Again, though, these girls, they're amazing, and they have made it very easy for me to come into the picture and be a mom to them.
Do you have anything that you would say as being a stepmom, though, talking to other stepmoms, words of encouragement, or like, this is something that has really been huge for me on this journey of connecting with these girls and being, like you said, they're the second mom in their life. Anything, whether it be wisdom or just, I don't really know, by the grace of God, obviously, but...
Yeah, well, it definitely has been by the grace of God. But I think for me, trying to balance being a friend to them because I want them to like me, but being a parent figure to them. And it was really Brandon and I getting on the same page of like, what am I going to do as far as like discipline and, just those difficult things that can be really hard as a step parent or a stepchild. Getting discipline from a step parent is really tricky a lot of times. And it has been. There have definitely been times that it's been hard, but just Brandon and I being on the same page of like, how much of that am I going to do, or am I going to do none? And so for a little while I did none, and that was harder than me being a disciplinary to them. But it's finding that level ground, because you don't want to go in and be the evil stepmom that like, they're in trouble with me more than dad ever gets them in trouble. And so that was really hard to figure out. But once we kind of figured out that balance, it made it a lot easier. And they knew what to expect from me. They knew what I expected of them. And I was definitely, for a long time, I was bad cop and dad was good cop.
Okay.
That's just my personality. I've grown up working with kids and stuff. So there was times where, and me being the stepmom, I just had a different view. They lived majority with their mom. And so when they were with dad, it was like, well, we can let that slide. They're only here a few days. And, when I came in, I was like, no, that is not happening. Like, that can't happen, and it wasn't that they were doing, super naughty things, but just keeping some consistent rules and keeping just the consistency there. Me being able to share that with Brandon, and then us both getting on the same page of like what's expected of them, so that they know, especially as they get older, when they're really little and there's expectations there, but they're different. So as they've gotten older and the expectations are a lot more, as far as like chores and what just in general, like clothing. I have girls, so clothing is always a fight. But, making sure that Brandon and I were on the same, playing ground, and we were both, I was a disciplinary. He was the majority, he did the majority of it, but I wasn't that person that said, okay, you're going to have to wait till your dad gets home and we're going to have to talk about that with him. There were definitely times that I did that when it was more like serious matters. But for the most part, if they just needed like, hey, that's not acceptable, you can't do that. It made it a lot easier.
Was it like conversations with him that helped you get on the same page? Yeah. Was it just enough of going through things that you're like, okay, we have to find our groove here?
It took a little while. Like
the nonverbal marriage communication.
Right, yeah. It was a lot of that at first, but then it was like, okay, we really need to sit down, because it was starting to get rocky between me and one of the girls. She did not take it well when I would discipline her. And they're great girls. We didn't have to discipline them that often, but when I did, it was not received well by her. And It's not because I was mean or anything. It was just, you're not my mom, you're not my dad. I don't need to listen to you all the time.
Got it.
And so it was when that started to get rocky that Brandon and I sat down and we're like, okay, we need to get on the same, playing field. So him and I talked, him and my stepdaughter talked, and then we all talked as a family to kind of like make sure we were all on the same page and that they knew what they were going to expect from me as a parent. And that's made things a lot better.
So you mentioned something that about the mom and how often you have the girls. So this is shared custody. How often are the girls living under your roof, and how often are they with their other mom?
Sure. So when we first got married, they were with us every other weekend. And there was one day during the week that they were with us every week. But that they were living 40 minutes away. So it was really easy to have like a midweek time with them. And so it wasn't bad. But as time went on, they ended up moving up north. So they're now like 4 hours away from us.
Wow.
Which was huge and was, big life change for everyone. When that happened though, we had already decided prior to that move that the girls were going to start to be homeschooled. So that we knew changes were going to happen as far as like how often we saw them. We just didn't know what it was going to look like. And so now they've been homeschooled and they've been up north for 2 years, I think. And so now it's there with their mom and stepdad and their family up there for 5 weeks, and then they come to our house for a week, and then they're back there for 5 weeks, and they're here for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And it goes back and forth a week, 2 weeks. That's during like the typical school year, September to May or June.
Right.
And then for the summer, they're here all summer except for a week when they go up to visit their mom and stepdad and family.
Okay. And how is that, the sharing custody? Is there things that are uniquely challenging with that?
It's gone pretty well overall. It's challenging just in that we go so long without seeing them.
Right.
And so to be able to, we were really worried about our relationships with them. Like just, we can talk on the phone with them, we can Skype or FaceTime with them, but that's different than having having them there in our home and just learning, they learn a lot from their home with their mom. They're 2 of 6 kids total up there. So their dynamic up there is a lot different than what their dynamic is when they're here. And so we were worried just like, how was it going to go when they did come back after those 5 weeks? And that was a big concern for a while, but the girl, they adjust so well. And so it's been really it's been as easy, I think, as it could be.
Okay, yeah.
It's obviously not ideal because we have to go that long without seeing them. But we do keep in contact with them really well. You know, they're getting older now, so they're on, you know, like email. They have email. And so that's like the cool thing right now is from their mom's house. And so that's good. But it's tricky. When we were trying to figure out what custody arrangements were going to look like when they moved that far away, we were really trying to do it outside of the court system. We really didn't, both us and their mom and stepdad did not want to have to get the courts involved if it's not needed.
Right.
Not to get lawyers involved. It just gets so messy, and the, you know, emotions are already running high when it's just us dealing with this, and then to add in a lawyer for each side, you know, it just gets so messy. So we really tried hard to try to make things work. Do I think that it's the ideal arrangement? No. Yeah. But when they're 4 hours away, I think we see them more than a lot of people that are that far away from their families.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of families that, or mixed families, that if they're that far away, they see their kids, you know, maybe at school vacation time and in the summer, and that's it. So we're blessed that we're able to see them more than that. And we have a good relationship with their mom and stepdad. So extra time, like they're coming early this summer so that they can be down here for their dad's birthday and start.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And the oldest is starting driver's ed this summer. So she's coming a week early anyways for that. So it's just, we have a good relationship with mom and stepdad, and that's helped a lot.
Oh yeah.
And that's not easy all the time.
I'm sure.
It's not, but you know, we're all humans and we have to make it work. And this is, you know, it's not easy because wasn't God's plan to have us to, you know, have divorced families, but we make it the best that we can. And that's all we can do.
And God is a God of redemption.
For sure.
It's a beautiful thing.
For sure.
But these aren't the only kids under your roof now.
They're not.
Tell me about your new addition.
It's a little bit about our, Brandon and I's relationship. Brandon had a vasectomy after his youngest. And so when we got married, I knew that. And he was very open, like, hey, you know, we can reverse this. We can still, he was very open to making our own family as well. But we thought about it for so long and we just weren't sure, you know, as far as what was going to go into having that happen. So we prayed about it for a long time. Are we going to adopt, or are we going to, you know, try to have our own children? And it got to the point where we just really felt like God was pushing us more towards the adoption side of things. And so we looked into that, and we had all these plans, like God's calling us to adopt. So we're going to adopt. And then we started looking at financially what that takes.
Yes.
And then we got scared. And we said, let's pray some more. Let's keep praying. And so we did, off the plate completely. But then foster care came into kind of our thoughts and our minds. And I attached to children very quickly, and Brandon does also. And so we, right from the get-go, were like, we can't do that. We can't take a kid in and then see them go back to their parents, even if that is best for the kids. It's gonna kill us, and we just can't go through that. So for a long time, we're like, God, you need to give us guidance. What do we want to do? You know, Brandon is 9 years older than me, and so we have to kind of think about this a little bit quicker than if he was my age.
Yeah. And
so it was a little over a year ago now that God really laid on our heart to foster. And we were both so afraid to do this. But we did it. We went to the classes, got more information, and last September we got licensed to be a foster family. And before we actually got our license in the mail, we had already had 4 calls for placements. Yeah. That was within 2 weeks. Said no to them for, you know, a variety of reasons. And then the end of September, we got placed with a beautiful little 2-week-old girl. Oh. And so she has been with us now since September 26th.
Wow.
Yeah. So now we have a little, almost 8-month-old with us.
And are you a pre-adoptive family? The plan is to adopt if that's...
We are a pre-adoptive family. So if reunification with parents doesn't happen, then we would be the first choice for her to have a long-term placement.
That's awesome.
It's exciting. It's a roller coaster, though, of emotions.
Yes. I have not fostered, but have friends that do. And that is the biggest thing for me that one is, at this point, God hasn't, you know, called my husband and I to that. But even just what you just described is so my heart. Like, I would get attached to every little kid that came through my door. And so, no, I think that really great foster homes are they're superheroes in my book. I think that it's an incredible work that you do. And I think part of why I respect it so much is I know it's so hard. And the fact that you still choose to do that, to walk that road knowing my heart might be broken a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to walk into this. It's awesome. So a little girl.
A little girl. Yeah.
I love that. So you've got the two girls, obviously 4 hours north. We're really north. What is 4 hours north of here? Do
Almost
they live in Canada? I was going to say they have to live in Canada.
Almost on the border of Canada.
Goodness sakes. Yeah. Okay. So the girls, you got your foster daughter, your husband. What does your life look like? Like, what is a day in the life of Kara right now?
A day in the life of Kara is a little chaotic, especially when all of the kids are here, when the older girls are here.
Oh, I bet.
But it's great. I wouldn't change it at all, really, right now. It's wonderful. But a day in the life of Kara, it's waking up at 2 a.m. when Abby needs her pacifier and can't find it. And then putting her back to sleep and waking up again at 5 when she wakes up for the day with a bottle. And then sometimes I get her to fall back asleep. But then it's that battle, like, okay, it's 5:30. Do I really fall back asleep now and try to get another hour? Or am I going to hate myself if I do that? And usually I do it and then I hate myself.
Oh.
So then, we get up. Abby goes to daycare full time, to an awesome daycare that we've been extremely blessed with, right around the corner from where I work, which is our church. I'm the children's ministry director. So as anybody that is on staff at a church knows, that this is not they say it's full time, and full time is usually the 40 hours. It's not the case when you work in ministry. So it's a lot. It's a busy day, but it's great. And I have been called to do the job that I do. And so it makes it easier. So even on those long days when I have to go get Abby at the end of the day and bring her back to the church with me because daycare is closed and I need to have her at church because I need to be there for meetings and this and that, it's busy.
Wow.
Yeah. My husband works long days. He drives a mobile shredding truck. So he goes all over Maine, sometimes New Hampshire, doing that. And so he leaves between 4:30, 5:30 in the morning.
Oh my
and
goodness.
Comes home anywhere between 4:30 and 7:30 at night.
Yikes. When do you both kind of land? Like, you get back to the house. When does that happen?
So he gets home and he's a very routine person. And so he gets home, he gets his work bag ready for the next day, gets his coffee all in the coffee maker. So in the morning, he just has to press the button to turn it on. He gets all of his stuff done. Sometimes gets a workout in while I'm getting Abby to bed and all of this. Once we've finally gotten her to bed, and if the big girls are there, once we've gotten them to go to their room for bed, then we usually have maybe a half an hour before we both pass out.
So it's a full and busy season.
It is a very busy season of life, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
And see so many different just blessings in our lives for having followed these different areas in our lives that neither of us ever thought we would be in.
So we've talked about, or at least in that, I can kind of see some of the challenges of that, crazy hours. Like you said, you're working in full-time ministry, you got daycare is closing, but ministry's not done. Right. And so picking up a baby, hauling them to church, and even just the blessings that you describe of the relationship, such a great relationship with these girls. But right now for you, what are the different ways or your favorite ways in the midst of the crazy to learn and grow spiritually for yourself? What does that look like in your life?
So usually my husband passes out long before I do. He's usually, not long before I do, but he's usually the first one to pass out. So my quiet time with God and my time to read and do anything like that, which is what I enjoy doing, is once he's fallen asleep, the kids are asleep, I do audiobooks.
Nice.
And so I'll plug my headphones in, lay in bed, and just listen and fall asleep usually to that. And then the next day I have to try to find where I fell asleep. So, it's just this big, long cycle of craziness. But that's what I do. Audiobooks, either at night before I go to bed, in the morning before Abby gets up, if I happen to wake up before her, and then
that
in the
1 hour.
Yeah, that 1 hour that I might get. Yeah, if I decide not to go back to sleep. during then I'll put the audiobook on so I can be kind of milling around the house, getting stuff done, little things done, but still be able to have some time. And then I have a half an hour drive from my house to daycare and work. And so that time to work and then home is like, okay, I'm by myself. Abby's usually passed out because she doesn't sleep at daycare. So that's her nap time is on the car, in the car on the way home or to daycare. So that's my quiet time. That's when I can throw on my audiobook and really just sink into whatever I'm listening to.
Oh, what are some of your favorites? I'm curious.
Oh, I knew you were going to ask that.
Oh,
and I don't. I really don't. I listen to all kinds of different stuff. And so I don't know.
What are you listening to right now?
Well, right now I'm listening to a fiction book right now.
What is it? We love all
my word. What is it called? It's on my tablet. I don't even remember. That's so pathetic. I don't even remember what it's called.
It's not pathetic. I can never remember author. It's like I'm asking a question I couldn't answer. Yes, if someone asks me.
That's like, what's your favorite actor? I'm like, do I even know their names? I don't know. And I'm such an you asked me on the spot, and I'm like blank. Mind blank. I have no idea.
In the world of fiction and nonfiction, do you lean heavier in one camp or the other?
No, I enjoy both.
You like both?
It depends. I like both. It's just season, whatever I'm in right now. Like whatever is just yeah. So I'm very indecisive. If you haven't realized it yet.
No, but I love that because Jenn, my co-host, we were talking about this once, and I am like a nerdy nonfiction person who has to force myself into fiction. I like fiction. I just don't tend to lean that way.
Sure.
But Jenn is one which to me, this is the greater balance, is she has to mix it up. Like if she's reading a fiction, she's got a nonfiction going at the same time.
Right.
So I feel like that's probably the smarter way because I cannot retain all of the stupid nonfiction knowledge I'm shoving in my brain. I swear it's like I think I'm smarter just because I don't know if that's true. But no, I love it. Okay, so moving away from the spiritual development, we all know as women, especially moms, it's important to take care of ourselves.
It is.
Even if not most of all in crazy seasons.
Yes.
So what does it look like for you? Physically, or whether your mind, which obviously you do audiobooks, so that's part of it, but soul care, what does it look like in your life right now?
It's tricky.
Yeah, I bet.
It's very tricky. So we live, out in the woods on a lake. And so my time to physically give myself a refresh is going out for a walk down our road with our dog. Oh. And just, it's that's quiet, relaxing, me time. I'm getting a little bit of physical exercise, but not too much because, really who enjoys that? Not me. Which I've realized, everybody says you gain weight after you have a baby because, baby weight, all of that stuff. I may not have given birth to my foster child. However, I've totally put on weight from having her around. It's the lack of eating good food. It's the convenience food that I've taken
babies.
On.
You don't need to birth them.
Exactly.
It's a busy season.
You still get those things. Yeah. So I enjoy getting outside and walking.
Girl, we are kindred spirits. Seriously. I
love it.
We should walk our dogs together.
Let's go. You're only a few hours away.
Long car ride, but
yes. That's what. And before I came on into ministry, Brandon and I would go every weekend that we didn't have the girls. We would go hiking. We'd go to the White Mountains, and it was for a while there. It was every other weekend we were in the Whites hiking, camping. It was amazing. That was our time when we didn't have quite so busy of schedules.
Yeah,
we don't quite get out as much with that anymore, but we camp every summer, which is great.
But you live on a lake? Is that what you said?
We do.
That's my dream.
Lake, and we don't, so we're on the lake, we're on the opposite side of our little road, so we don't actually on the lake, but we see the lake from our home. So that's on the lake, matters. Right? Yeah. We have a right of way passage that we have to get access.
I love it.
However, someone stole our canoe last year, so now we have no way to get on the lake.
Talk about rude. You've had a lot of rude people in your life, Kara.
That's what I get for all the other blessings that God has given me. I've got to have some
trying to level you out a little.
Some rude people in my life to remind me that, hey, I am not perfect. I do not have an awesome life all the time.
It's not all cupcakes and rainbows.
Not at all.
Love it. But Kara, what I really want to know is what is the most superficial thing about you?
Oh my word. I don't know. This is so bad. Can I think of anything? And that's so not me thinking that I am not superficial and I have nothing superficial about me, because I totally do and I know I do.
Are you a clothes person?
I hate shopping.
Oh, me too, actually.
Despise it, actually.
Yeah.
Unless it's shopping for the kids. Well, unless it's shopping for the baby. Ooh. I enjoy highly shopping for the baby. Not for the teenagers. They don't like anything I buy, even though they would pick the same stuff off the rack because it came from me. It's not cool.
So could it be having to do with the baby being a baby doll? Like, I gotta make this baby look like she's Gap modeling.
So cute. And she's such a little chunky ball of baby.
Oh, I love chunky babies.
It's so cute.
I love that.
I buy a lot of clothes for her. The sad part, too, is when we became foster parents, a friend of mine gave us, I'm not joking, 15 trash bags full of clothes for kids from 6 months to 3 years. So it's not that I don't have clothes for her. There is a closet full of clothes for her and a tote full of clothes for her in the size she's in right now.
But you love to shop.
I still really enjoy shopping for her. It's just so cute. The clothes are so cute. And let's be honest, they ruin them so quickly. You know, the spit up, the food, it gets ruined so quickly that I need to buy more, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe?
Because nobody puts their kids in clothes that have been spit up on.
No.
I thought they're all disposable.
Yes.
Like, oh, you spit up, throw it away, new outfit.
Oh,
That's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
I like that one. I think that should be it.
I buy it, yeah.
Well, Kara, thank you so much for coming on, for telling us your story. I'm still my mind is still blown from the beginning of this whole story. I feel like now I just want to sit down and have an entire other interview around this whole meeting your husband and eloping, and we need to find that census kid.
Yes.
Because he owes
His
you
name must
a
be
present.
on my paper.
It would be.
It would be on my paper.
You know what you should do?
Facebook stalk him.
Yes.
I am going to go home tomorrow and Facebook stalk him.
I love it. All right, Kara. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, girls, so you've met my friend Kara, you've heard her story, and you have to admit, she's kind of the cutest thing ever. Jenn, I'm sad you didn't get to meet her face to face, but I'm so glad that you have gotten to hear her story, and now you've had time to process. What did you think about our girl Kara?
Oh my word. First of all, I need to now meet her.
Yes.
Second, you just hear things, and first, that she stalked him on Facebook, that he, witnessed her over Facebook Messenger, and just, put down the gospel for her. Then they started dating. Then, 4 months in, hey, let's get married. And then, not only just get married, let's elope. I'm like, girl, what? Girl, come on. This is crazy talk. Crazy. I love it. I love that she just told it how it was. And so let's talk about that a little. What are your thoughts on all that?
The whole time I feel like I just was repeating over. I'm like, what? Over and over. Because honestly, again, I don't know her super well, but I met her through speaking at a women's conference that she runs. And when you meet her, she's just this super sweet, seems quieter, but definitely sweet is the word that comes to mind. I joked my first conference I spoke for her, I made the joke from platform that I just wanted to take Kara and put her in my pocket and take her home because she's just so cute. And then to hear this, that takes guts to stalk this guy on Facebook, pursue it, send him a message, and then all of it, all the way up, and just the whole thing. I'm like, who are you? And then to find out just that this has been 7 years and that God has really worked through all of this is incredible. I think one of my favorite parts of the story was her husband sharing the gospel with her, and that was the first time she'd ever heard it. Like, I don't know this guy, but I like him already because such an incredible guy to take the opportunity. Here's this like super cute girl pursuing you, and you're like, all right, well, I guess I'll take this opportunity to share the gospel with her. And obviously
that's normal.
Yeah. The whole story was normal. But I think the whole story for me brings it back to one of the things we talk about on our podcast is just that everybody's story can look so different, and that God is writing different stories for all of us, but it's all part of this bigger picture. And I love that about her. Like, honestly, there are things in her story I've never heard anybody walking through before, but it's amazing.
Yeah. I love too that whole piece about being a stepmom, and how she just kind of talked about like when she came into their family, the girls were 5 and 7, and it was super cute, and they were little girls, and just how they've transitioned through the years and how that's looked different and disciplining. And now that the girls have moved away, I just appreciated so much, because there are tons of people walking through families that have step families, that have step kids, and just like that isn't always an easy road. Like, some seasons are awesome, and just like any family, some seasons are awesome and some seasons are a little difficult. And I think especially with step families, like there is that other piece of the other family dynamic that plays into it that's super hard. And I just appreciated all the things that she shared about it, and how much it was so clear to me how much she loved those girls. Yeah. So much.
Yeah, this interview is another one that's just going down on the list of being a favorite. I was so encouraged after talking to her. I'm just excited to continue to watch her story unfold. Like, there's just a lot of years ahead, and they're entering foster care and possible adoption, like all of these things. I think she will be one down the road that we'll definitely have to have come back and update us on her life.
Oh, absolutely. All right, girls. Well, that was episode 12. We hope you enjoyed Kara's story as much as we did. Be sure to like us on iTunes, give us a review, follow us on all the social media platforms that we're on, and connect with us. We love to hear from you guys. We love all your comments. We love your messages. So thanks for listening today.
Bye, girls.
Bye.
Brandon and I's relationship. Brandon had a vasectomy after his youngest. And so when we got married, I knew that, and he was very open, like, hey, you know, we can reverse this. We can still, he was very open to making our own family as well.
Have you ever seen that episode of The Office?
Yes.
When I reverse it and reverse it.
Yes.
Reverse it again.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that was really inappropriate. Andy, edit that. So you were not Jan, is what you're saying.
I was not Jan. No. Oh, no.